Welcome. I believe we're live streaming. We are live on all channels a go. We are continuing the reading of Elsie Lincoln Benedict's book, How to Get Anything You Want. This is video number 35, I believe. Video number 35. Let's just double, triple check that. Yep, video number 35. And it is exciting. Thank you all for your beautiful messages about getting YouTube partner yesterday. I am so excited. You have no idea. So thank you again for all your support. If you're on Facebook right now, hop on over to YouTube. You can find it in my Facebook profile. Either the link tree or the YouTube. I think I straight up have my YouTube in there to help with them watch hours, because I have a new milestone to reach and I have about 900 watch hours to go. So I have it playing on my iPad somewhere. I'm watching my own channel. I just have it playing. But anyways, I'm excited for tonight because we're continuing this book and we're on lesson 3. We have made it to lesson 3. Can you believe it? I cannot. We're on lesson 3. Know what you want most. Know what you want most. Do you know what you want most? Do you know why you get up in the morning? What is your desire? What is your goal? What is your definite chief aim, as Napoleon Hill would say? So let's read and learn. Lesson 3. Know what you want most. I had occasion recently to take a little daughter of a friend out to lunch. We went to a cafeteria, a new experience for her, but she took very little food and didn't enjoy that. As a party, it was a dismal failure, and for the same reason that many human lives are failures, she couldn't decide what she wanted. All kinds of good things were there before her, ready for her, and to be had for the taking. But she could not bring herself to choose. Instead of looking at each display as we passed it, selecting something and passing on to the next, she ran her eye over all the counters at once and finally grew so excited and muddled she picked up 2 or 3 things she didn't like at all and let it go at that. How like us grown up, even gray-haired children. The first big stumbling block on the roadway of life that meets, let me rephrase that. The first big stumbling block on the roadway of life that meets and all too often stops us is this one. All we know is that we want from life a great many things. Yes, lots and lots of things. But settling on just what exactly we want and what they are is something few people ever get around to doing. That's the truth. Let me bring this mic closer. Studies show that a lot of people do not have a goal. They don't have it written down. They couldn't tell you if you ask them, what are you really working towards in life? And mental health studies show, vetted in medical journals, you can look it up, Google Scholar, that the biggest cause of depression, loneliness, and suicidality is lack of connection and lack of purpose. Lack of connection and lack of purpose. And this day and age, when everything's connected through technology, people can feel lonely. And I've been talking about the past couple days, like times in my life when I didn't feel I had a goal or I didn't feel I had a purpose. Like, why was I getting up in the morning? And I started choosing different goals, like running a marathon, training for a marathon, saving up money to go on a trip that I wanted to. It doesn't matter. Just as long as you have something to look forward to, that's all that matters, right? But if we don't know what we want, just like this girl, she's looking at life. She's like, that's how life is. It's a big cafeteria. Anything we choose, we can go for. But we don't. She said, all we know is that what we want from life is a great many things. Yes, lots and lots of things. But settling on just exactly what they are is something few people ever get around to doing. Okay. We look at the world and all its fullness in a sort of by and large survey, sweeping the horizon with a cursory, casual glance and say to ourselves, yes, yes, now let's see. And a decade or two taps us on the shoulder before we awaken. I feel attacked. I feel called out, Elsie. That was me. That was me. Do you feel like a decade has passed? 2 decades have passed? 3 decades have passed? Do you feel like 5 years have passed? And you wake up, you're like, how did I get here? I thought I'd be further along in life by now. Let me tell you, everybody feels that way until you really start getting serious about your purpose, period. And you don't have to have it all figured out. Your purpose might change through life, but just pick something and go for it. Just pick something and go for it. But, a lot of times we're waiting to feel okay. We're waiting to feel not scared. We're waiting to feel more clarity. Uh, it won't come until we take action. That was the case for me. I speak from personal experience and a lot of people that I've worked with. So when we feel like we don't know, there's two things, and only you'll know. There's times when you don't know what to do, and it's a time to rest, a time to get prayerful, quiet, journal, and but intentional. Like I'm gonna journal, I'm gonna pull back for 2 months, 6 months, whatever, and I'm gonna figure this out. Or when we don't feel clarity and we don't know what we do, you pick something and you go all in. Like one time I was going through I was going through it and I was like, I cannot be sitting here with this. So I like enrolled in a full immersion Spanish program. So it kept me busy from like 8 to 12, and then I had to go to work. So, ooh, try both. Try it all. If you just don't torture yourself, take action. If you really need to rest, go for it, but take action. It makes you feel better. It takes your mind off of it because we could just sink into the quicksand of our own misery. I sure have. But now I get it. I mean, I don't even, honestly, I don't. I surround myself with too many people that'll yank me out and be like, wake up, girl. Yeah. I've created that kind of structure for my life by now. Thank God. It's not that I'm perfect. It's not that anything bad won't ever happen again. Of course it does and will, and I'll always have challenges, but now I know how to navigate it. Now I have a toolbox. That's the difference. So we look at the world and its fullness in a sort of by and large survey, sweeping the horizon with a cursory, casual glance and say to ourselves, yes, yes, now let's see. Let us see. And a decade or two taps us on the shoulder before we awaken. I was saying, yes, yes, the world is my oyster. I was 17 years old. I was 18 years old. Wow. I would look at people who were like 28. I was like, wow, they're old. 30, 35. Oh my God, they're ancient. 40, forget about it. Wow. I'm not going to be like them when I grow up. I'm meant for something more. Cut to, you know, listen, every single person has the potential and capability, especially if you desire it, to do big things. We're all special. One of my greatest teachers said, no one's special and everyone's special. Everyone's special and no one's special. We're not better, we're not worse. Get right sized. They say that in the 12 steps. We are just as special as anybody else. Does it express differently? Absolutely. But when you have that little gnawing, that little in your ear, in your belly, I just know I'm meant for something more, like a big life, right? Yeah. And again, it can look different. It might be like an actual big life like Oprah Winfrey, or a big life like Mother Teresa, or a big life like something in your local community or your family, your nuclear family. But it'll feel equivalent. It'll always feel right. Never doubt that. So the feeling that you desire is 100% possible. You just have to be open to the how. And it's not going to be so different. I remember when I was younger, I was like, I don't want to listen to God's will. I know what I want, and I'm afraid God's going to make me a nun. Or like, I'm going to have to sell canned or like give away canned foods and be like, I won't be able to wear makeup and like have nice things, and I'll have to be poor. And like, I want nice things. And I don't think that's God's will for me, right? Terrible programming. And I remember I used to go to these lectures, and this woman was standing up and asking the teacher, like, I want to be a singer. I want to sing. We're in Los Angeles, a lot of actors and artists and singers. And she said, I'm just afraid, like, what if my calling in life, like, what if my fate is to be an accountant? And the teacher's like, what in the world would make you think that? If you were born not only with a voice to sing, the desire to sing, you're in Los Angeles. Why do you think you would end up to be an accountant? And she was just telling her, like, if you want to sing, go sing. And so it was that moment, and we all watched it. It was pretty fascinating, and it resonated with everybody on different levels. Like, whatever you want to do, like this, y'all, like this. I love teaching. I love reading. I love sharing. I love connecting. I love performing. I love emoting. I love making people feel good. I love making people laugh. I just love it. And I thought it would turn out different, right? Like when I was younger, especially earlier, it's like, well, you have to get an agent, you have to get, jobs, you have to audition. And like, I played around with that kind of stuff. I was always a part of a theater group, but I was talking to a friend. I was like, I just never played the game. I just never played the game. I just didn't have it in me. I just could never play the game. And I turned down a couple things just because I was like, I don't like their attitude. Like, I was unwilling to play the game. Things could have been very different for me. Let's just put it that way. But you know what? I think we all end up exactly where we are supposed to be if we heed the call of our own soul. And so here I am, feeling that feeling of freedom, of expression, of connection, creativity. And it looks nothing like I thought it would, but the feeling is there. We just have to be open and just continue to work towards what we want. I'm not sure how we got on that tangent, but so she's saying that, oh yeah, decades pass because we think it's going to hit. We think it's going to reveal itself like a big lightning bolt, or it's going to be really obvious, or we're not going to be afraid of it, or whatever. It's like the majority of the time, that's not how it happens. That's just not how it happens. We have to just, if it is not clear to you, if you were not like Yo-Yo Ma popping out, knowing how to play the violin or whatever, or the cello, um, or Steven Spielberg knowing since he was 7 years old that he wanted to be a director. Um, if you don't think you're a prodigy, right? If you don't think that you are whatever, what do you want to do? What do you like to do? What comes naturally to you that you like and you're good at and you would want to do? Just go for it. How can you serve people? How can you earn money? How can you give a service that someone would be willing to pay for, or a product, or create something? You know, it's always possible. We just have to be open to it. It truly is. So don't let any more time pass, please. Just don't. All right. We look at the world and its fullness. Okay, I already read that. We wake up. Ooh, cut to 20 years later. We've wasted all of our time. Okay. Instead of waiting for the rattle of old father times, scathe. Is that supposed to say scathe? Scythe. Am I totally losing it? I'm gonna look that up. Let's look it up together. Let's learn together. Is this a word? Because some of these, there's a couple misspellings here, but I want to make sure this is not a word that I'm gonna miss. Okay, it's Scythe. That's a word. Let's listen together. Scythe. Did you know that word? Scythe? Do you know that word? An architectural implement consisting of a long curving blade fastened at an angle to a handle for cutting grass. Oh, and grain. Okay, it's like a machete or a hoe or something. To cut or mow with a scythe. Wow, I have never heard that word. A scythe. Ooh, so these are some fighting words. Elsie? Okay. So she's saying, instead of waiting for the rattle of old father time's scythe to rouse you, let me help you out of that daze right now. So she's saying, don't wait till father time cuts you. Wake up now. Open your eyes and decide what it is you want to do. Ooh, decide right now. Literally right now. Whenever you're watching this, decide right now what it is you want to do. Decide. Make a decision. Make a decision and go for it. If it's not the right decision, you'll know, then you make another decision. You can't mess it up. You really can't. Just make a decision and go for it. You can get every one of them if you will come out of it long enough to definitely positively choose and then go after them. But you will get only the leavings of your life if you fail to do this. Ugh. The value of knowing exactly what you want cannot be overestimated. We are powerful organisms, all of whose energies automatically mobilize, ready to go after a thing the instant we absolutely know we want it. It always reminds me of the way the sun's rays act with and without a burning glass, the magnifying glass. You may sit in the brightest sun reading your newspaper without its taking fire. The rays are spread over a large area. This is so crazy. We were just talking about this today, about the power of the will, right? It's just like light in this room. But when you harness it, like under a microscope, it can burn, it can cut through glass like a laser beam. Okay, this is good. She says, okay, you can sit underneath the sun without your newspaper taking fire, reading the paper. The rays are spread over a large area and nothing happens. But move to a spot much less sunny. Take a burning glass from your pocket, like a magnifying glass, hold it to the sun over the paper, and it burns a hole through it. When you do not know just what you want, your energies are out of focus. They spread over everything and nothing happens. All the power is there, but you are not directing it. You're not using the focus and the power of your will. You are not deciding on what you want and then just focusing on that to the exclusion of everything else. Can you do that 24/7? No. But if you tap in at least once a morning before you go to bed, really focus. Put all of your energy, attention, focus your emotions on what you want for 5 minutes a day. That would be enough, truly. So when you don't know just what you want, your energies are just spread out. You don't have any focus and nothing happens. Definite desire focuses and harnesses 1,000 energies you are not even aware of and burns a hole to what you want. Wow. When you do not know exactly what you want, you are like a man who wants to go somewhere but doesn't know where it is. You are like the people who say, yes, I'd love to travel, but who never do so because they can't make up their minds on where to go. Most people are like this. Most people are like those in the old song who sang, I don't know where I'm going, but I'm on my way. Isn't that the truth? I don't know where I'm going, but I'm on my way. That was me for like 20 years. Not really. I mean, I'm hard on myself. I need to be nicer. I've accomplished a lot. It did not turn out, it did not happen the way I would have expected. There was a lot of learning lessons, and I'm using them for my glory, let me tell you. Turning that seed of adversity into equal or greater benefit, okay? All right, so most of us, we're going, but we don't know where we're going. All the world lies upon, open to you. All the world opens to you. The world is your oyster. All the world lies open to you. You may go where you choose, but you must choose or be jostled by the crowd, not merely figuratively, but literally. Wow. So you may go where you choose, but you must choose or be jostled by the crowd, not merely, not figuratively, literally, you will just be pushed around by outside forces. The world always steps aside for the person who knows where they're going, but it takes a good deal of delight in pushing, bumping into, and running over the one who doesn't. Ooh. To arrive at any destination worthwhile, you must decide on that destination. Otherwise, the pulling and hauling and mulling and muddling of those in your immediate and remote environments will stunt and shove you down first this bypath and then that one according to their own interests. You will literally, people don't want what's best for you, even your family. People do not want what's best for you. They want what's best for them, even if they love you. Let me tell you, you think you're being nice. You think you're being kind. You think you're being a good person. You probably are. But if you're serious about making a change in your life, nobody is looking out for what's best for you. Everybody is looking out what's best for them. Period. We are incapable of yes, we can love people and take care of them, blah, blah, blah. Mm, that's the truth. You have to decide what you want and you got to go for it. You got to go for it. Yeah. To arrive at any destination worthwhile, you must decide on the destination. Otherwise, the pulling and hauling, the mulling and muddling of those in your immediate and remote environments will shunt and shove you down first this bypath and then that one according to their own interests. Because why not? You don't know where you're going anyway. It's like people who don't know where they're going, they're just bobbling around. And then, like, listen, I'm focused. I always know what I'm doing. I always have my schedule planned. There's not a day that I don't know what I'm doing. Not that I'm like super structured. Like some days I know, oh, I thought I spilled my soda. There's some days like on the weekends, like I know I'm doing nothing unless I have something planned ahead of time. But like, I'm not one of those people, and it could be a bad thing, but you know what? No, it's not because I know what I want. Who like, oh, are you available if it's like, I wish you would have called me sooner. Yeah, randomly I'll be open to like doing this, but like I know exactly what I'm doing every single day. My days are structured, discipline, structure. And I have in that doing nothing. And non-negotiables. I'm not going to fill up my schedule because it's empty. No, that's my like nap time or that's my I'm off work time and my alone time, whatever, like my morning time. And so, do you know what you want? Do you plan and structure your time? Do you set yourself up for success? Or are you just the person that anybody can call? Like, yeah, she'll pick up, she'll come. Yeah, just call her, she'll come with like an hour's notice or whatever. It's like, yeah, you can say that's spontaneous, but then like, who's always available? Are you available all the time? Are you always down for whatever? Are you just always available? Like, yeah, sometimes I'm available. Sometimes I could be spontaneous. But like, usually I'm not, especially right now at this point in my life. I used to be, but like when you're going after something, you're just not available for that kind of stuff. You're just not. That's my opinion, my experience and my opinion. All right. But I'm afraid to decide for sure, said one woman to me, for fear I couldn't get there. I've never tried such a thing before, and I don't know what might happen. Things I can't foresee might have to be faced, and maybe some of them would be too much for me. This conversation took place in Los Angeles. The answer I made her will perhaps clear up some things for you too. She said, you have just been telling me that in a few days you are going to you're going to drive to San Diego, haven't you? I said. You have never made this trip before. You are not dismayed. You know there may be detours, and at this time of year, a washout or two. But you are not letting that deter you. You know that when you reach them, you will find some way of getting by them and going on. You must do the same in your life. Go as far as you can, see, go as far as you can see, and when you get there, you will see farther. That's like taking the first step of the staircase and then the rest of the staircase unfolds. To reach the big places, every famous person has had to decide to go to them, letting the detours and delays take care of themselves when their time came. Of course, some of these will have to be met. Of course, you must allow for them, but take along your mental skid chains. Oh, take along your mental skid chains, have plenty of gas and spare tires, and you will get there. Yeah, like what makes us think we're going to walk through life and never need an umbrella? Of course we will. Just have your umbrella. And that doesn't mean you don't have faith. Oh, you shouldn't have an umbrella. You don't have faith. It's like, listen, just because you're prepared doesn't mean you don't have faith. That drives me crazy. All right. Other people are going to do the very are going to the very same places in life that you desire to reach and doing it every day. Are they Superman or Superwoman? Are they more able than you? On the contrary, many of them, as you say to yourself, are inferior to you. But they are getting the good things that you want, having a wonderful time and reveling in the headway that they are making while you watch from the roadside. Ooh, she was on fire. I swear. I'm going to go visit her grave. I know where it is, actually. All right. The chances are you have as good a car as the average and a far better one than most who skimp past you on life's highway. Only they start while you stand around letting your machine and yourself rust. Make up your mind. She's being very direct, and I am here for it. So basically, she's saying the chances are, listen, you are just as good as everyone else. You're probably even better. But the difference is why other people are winning is because they start and you're just standing around rusting. It's like they say, ships are meant to sail, not stay in the harbor. How many of us are still in the harbor waiting for the sign, tied up, watching all the other boats take off? Wow, look where they're going. Look at what they're doing. Wow. And we're just tied to the dock. One day, the one day is now. Like, cut that anchor. Bye. Start sailing. You will like, oh, Earl Nightingale talks a lot about this. So good. Like, most people are ships without rudders. One of my clients, she's so funny. We're talking about drifting, like on the road, like no rudder. We're just drifting through life. She goes, I'm not even drifting. I'm still in the harbor. Like, I haven't even left, right? Out of fear of like, what's out there? What if I fail? What if something goes wrong? Like, and you get back up and you try again. You keep going. You ask for help. The biggest mistake we can make is not making a decision. No decision is a decision. So again, if you feel stuck, make a decision and start moving towards something. Just make an energetic decision first. All right. So just make up your mind. What if you should make a mistake and find a few miles along that you didn't like the scenery? You could turn around, couldn't you? Come back and strike out for something that suited you better. So if you make a decision and it's the wrong one, you make a new decision. You literally can't go wrong unless you don't make any decision. At least you wouldn't have wasted your time altogether, as you are doing now, for you would have learned from the effort a good deal that would be useful to you in the future. We learn by doing. We don't learn by getting prepared and ready to do. We learn by doing. Ooh, I wish I would have known that younger. Ooh. Okay. Every successful person in the world made a lot of false starts. I'm having deja vu. Don't be too sensitive that you can't admit an error once in a while, too. People aren't watching for your mistakes half as much as you imagine. I love that quote. I don't know if it's a quote, but one of my teachers said this to me. They go, Carla, you're the last thing on their mind. I was offended, but relieved. They said, Carla, you're the last thing on their mind because they're the first on theirs, just like everybody else. Yeah, we might do something and someone like, but very rarely are people thinking about us when we leave their presence. They're probably thinking about them and what they did and rehashing how they acted. So people are not thinking about us as much as we can imagine anyhow. And those who will forget them as soon as you give them something better to think of. I know of several brilliant people who have followed life to pass them by, who've allowed life to pass them by, leaving only failure in its wake because they were afraid to attempt. The man who never made a mistake never made anything. That is a full statement. That is a sentence in itself. The person who never made a mistake never made anything. If sensitivities to criticism has been holding you back, if you have been afraid to begin anything for fear it might fall through and give some people the laugh on you, just remember, he laughs best who laughs last. There are two things far harder to bear than an occasional laugh: the smile of superiority and the look of pity we finally call forth from the very people for whose good opinion we sacrificed our chances. Let's read that again. There are two things harder, far harder to bear than an occasional laugh. So there's worse things than being laughed at, failing, stumbling, tripping, because you're in the arena. There is worse things than falling on stage and having people laugh at you. At least you're on stage. She said, the smile of superiority is worse, and the look of pity that we finally get from those people who we were afraid that were going to laugh at us. They look at us and they feel sorry for us for never even trying. And we were trying to avoid that. We were trying to avoid them laughing at us. And now they just look at us with pity, like, oh my God, you did nothing with your life. Decide what you want, where you wish to go. Have a definite goal in view. Know what you want and why you want it. Use all your intelligence and imagination to select just the things you will want after you get them. You must aim at a target if you expect to hit it. You must get your gun lined up and point it straight at the very thing you are after. You will bag nothing out of the jungle of life if you fail to do this. At first glance, you will say, I know what I want. All right, it's the getting it that stumps me. It's how am I going to get it that makes me question. But do you? I venture to make a guess that if you were asked to sit down right now and make a list of the 10 things that you want most, you would have a hard time of it. Within 5 minutes, you would come to a standstill trying to make up your mind which of several conflicting desires stands first with you. So she's saying at first glance, a lot of people say, I know exactly what I want. It's just, I don't know how to get it. And Elsie's calling us out saying, but do you? Do you really know what you want? Do you? Because if I told you to sit down right now and write 10 things that you're sure you want, I bet you wouldn't be able to do it. You would have too many conflicting desires. You wouldn't be clear on what you truly want. A simple illustration of this was given me several years ago by a student of mine. Um, a middle-aged woman of Iowa who wanted to do something in the way of a school along the lines of these teachings. Her ideas were vague. She was interested in psychology, but didn't know what branches she wanted to teach. She felt that she would, as she put it, get a great deal of self-expression out of having something like this to do. When she finally decided to start, she could not select what to teach. At last, she definitely made up her mind to use At last, she definitely made up her mind to use for a basis such principles as are outlined here. But even after that, she was delayed for several months before because she could not decide where to begin in New York or in Washington, D.C. She wanted so badly to live in both places. Each offered such allurements, she could not decide to forego either, and as a result, had to forego both for many useless months. Yeah, this is the thing. Again, if there's something in your gut that's telling you to not make any decision, great. But don't be afraid to make a decision. Like, if you have to decide between this or that, just choose one and go for it. If it doesn't work, move. I did that when I was moving around. I decided to go somewhere, decided to sign a 12-month lease. I broke it after 5 months. Bye-bye. But Carla, you have a 12-month lease. You're going to lose. I don't care. My peace is priceless, honey. Where do I pay the fee? Okay, I'm leaving. Bye-bye. I will not stay somewhere I don't want to be. I will go into debt. I will go bankrupt. I don't care. If I know I don't like it and I was decisive, I leave. Bye. Mm-mm. Yeah. And the more decisive you are and the more chances you take and run up against, okay, well, that didn't work. It just leads you to the next path. And you get confidence. You get confidence in yourself. You start trusting yourself more. So she wasted useless months choosing between New York and Washington, D.C. When she finally settled on Washington, all went smoothly and happily. She has never regretted her decision, and her success has long since reconciled her to what she missed in New York. Another student, a man of 38, had kept two fine women waiting and himself out of years of happiness because he couldn't decide on which to marry. He was in the same predicament as the poet who sang, how happy could I be with either? Were weren't weren't other dear charmer away? How happy could I be with either? Were t'other dear charmer away? So this guy couldn't decide who to marry, and he wasted years. Okay. Each woman possessed certain advantages and each certain disadvantages. From his point of view, just as do all things between which we hesitate. If only there were but one of them, he used to say, and that one a composite lacking the faults and combining the good qualities of both. So, like, oh Lord, say you have two people that you're trying to decide between. You're like, but I like this about them, but I don't like this about them. But I like this about them, but I don't like this. Can you just like be one person and have all the good things and forget all the bad things? Often, so much impossible idea keeps, often, some such possible impossible idea keeps us from deciding on a course of action. But until we stop demanding perfection in people and things, all we get from life will be a mass of imperfections. Make up your mind that New York is not Washington. Ooh. Make up your mind that New York is not Washington. That the person or thing you are choosing is not perfect. That it lacks some things you could have gotten elsewhere, but that, as the ritual says, you are taking it for better or for worse. Then make the most of it, and, like the respectable married woman, refuse thereafter to flirt with the one you have renounced. So when you make a decision, forget the other person. Like, make a decision and stick to it. Honor it, you know? If you do not, if you persist in keeping a sort of mental option on both, the thing which happened to this man will happen to you. You will lose both. Ooh, he lost them. Everything in the universe moves. The bird you would like to bring down may sit so long on the same branch you imagine it will be there forever. But I assure you it will fly away when you least expect it. This then is the thing you must do. Decide just what you want. The big, main things in life are like trees, beautiful and satisfying for the most part, but with a few flaws, gnarled branches, and other imperfections in every one. You are not in heaven yet. This is the earth, but a place you can mighty near make into a heaven if you will use one of the least used and rarest things in the world, common sense. I love her. We're going to leave it right there. This just goes. I mean, I could read this whole thing right now. She's on a good one. We will continue the reading of Know What You Want Most. If you are struggling with deciding, knowing what you want to hear all of this. And if you missed any of the previous videos, there are 34 more. This is video number 35. So be sure to, if you're not on YouTube right now, if you're on Facebook, be sure to hop on over there to YouTube. Hop onto YouTube and help me with my watch hours. We're almost there, team. We are almost there. And I'm so happy. So thank you so much for joining me. If you want to work with me one-on-one or know anything more about the services I offer, all of my information is in the description box below my YouTube video. So book a call. Let's chat. I love to support people. I have a lot of cool things coming up. So let me know how I can help you. Thank you again. I will see you tomorrow. I'm going to